Obinna Okafor grew up in wealth. His family's mansion in Ikoyi and his education in London prepared him to run his father's business. By 30, he had everything: money, power, and fame in Lagos. But he was careless, always at parties, always drinking, never thinking about tomorrow. Kayamika Ease lived a very different life. Orphaned young, she worked as a waitress in Surulere, supporting her younger siblings. Life was hard, but she was determined and strong. One night, Obinna came into her restaurant. He ate and had a few drinks. Kayamika took his car keys so he wouldn't drive and helped him home to Ikoyi. To Obinna, it was just a one-night stand. To Kayamika, it became the night her life changed. Weeks later, she found out she was pregnant. She looked for him, but he was gone, abroad, unreachable. She gave birth to twin boys and raised them alone, fighting hunger and shame. She worked in houses, scrubbed floors, and begged God for strength. Meanwhile, Obinna rose higher in wealth. But his marriages failed. Each ended with the same thorn. You're the problem. Doctors cleared him, but he started to believe it. The Lagos sky trembled with thunder, lightning slicing across the lagoon. Rain poured down on the third mainland bridge, drowning the city in chaos. Traffic crawled, horns muted by the storm. Yet through the madness, Obinna's Rolls-Royce pressed on, its headlights cutting through the downpour. He had just left another soul-draining board meeting on Victoria Island, arguments over the company's reputation circling like vultures. At 40, twice divorced, surrounded by wealth, yet consumed by emptiness, Obinna felt like a man unraveling. Then, through the curtain of rain, he saw them. By the roadside stood a woman drenched to her skin, her wrapper heavy with water, her scarf plastered against her forehead. In her hands, she clutched two barefoot boys, trembling from the cold. Obinna's foot slammed the brake. His chest tightened. He rolled down the window, rain slapping his face. Kayamika, he called. Slowly, the woman turned. Her eyes, once tender, now weary and fierce, met his. For a heartbeat, the city seemed to freeze. Kayamika Ease stepped closer, her boys clinging to her sides. Her lips parted, her voice calm but cutting. Thank you for destroying my life. Obinna's chest tightened. What are you saying? But before she could answer, one of the twins bent into a fit of coughing while the other buried his face in her waist. Panic surged in Obinna. Get in the car, he urged, unlocking the doors. Now, before they collapse. Kayamika didn't argue. She ushered the boys inside. Obinna spun the wheel and sped off toward Lagoon Hospital in Ikoyi, rain smearing the windshield as memories of years past rushed back. Her arm guiding him one drunken night, her voice soothing, then darkness. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and anxiety. Obinna paced the corridor, soaked clothes clinging to his body. He had faced hostile shareholders, but never had he been this afraid. Kayamika sat stiffly, water dripping from her scarf, her eyes fixed on the floor. I didn't know, Kayamika, Obinna whispered. I swear I didn't. She lifted her chin sharply. Don't apologize out of pity. I begged, I searched, but you were gone. No trace of you anywhere. Before he could respond, the doctor appeared, holding a folder. Mr. Okafor, the DNA results are in. Samto and Dubum are your children. 100%. Obinna's knees buckled. He crumbled to the cold floor, tears pouring freely. My God, I'm a father. The man had been told by two wives he was barren, now knew the truth. The Rolls-Royce glided past the Lekki toll gate into Ikoyi, where his mansion stood tall against the storm. Golden lights reflected off wet marble, fountains spraying mist as the car stopped. Samto and Dubum stirred awake, staring wide-eyed. Mom, are we in heaven? Whispered Dubum. Kayamika forced a weak smile. No, my love, just a house. Inside, Obinna tried to speak, but Kayamika cut him off. If you think gold walls will erase the years I suffered, don't waste your time. I'm not here for your money. That night, on the balcony overlooking Banana Island, silence stretched between them. Kayamika spoke of homelessness, hunger, and nights of despair. Obinna admitted his failed marriages, his shame of childlessness. The night air carried their bitterness, but beneath it flickered something fragile. Morning brought the scent of sausages and akara. Kayamika tied a wrapper and helped the chef cook, while Samto and Dubom devoured food at the marble counter, giggling with joy. Obina stood in the doorway, overwhelmed. For the first time in years, his mansion felt like a home. "We're shopping today," he declared. "Books, shoes, clothes. Everything you need." At ShopRite in Lekki, the twins sprinted from sneakers to superhero bags, their laughter like music. Obina laughed too, tears wetting his lashes. Then a cold voice cut through the air. Well. Obina Okafor with his new family. It was Adora Naji, his second ex-wife. Dressed elegantly, her smile was sharp. "A waitress? What is this, Charity?" Kayamika froze. Obina stepped forward. "She is the mother of my children. Show some respect." Adaora's painted smile faded. "Children? You." She stared, stunned. But Obina simply rested his hand proudly on Samto's shoulder. That evening, Obina handed Kayamika a brown envelope in the living room. "Open it," he said quietly. Kayamika hesitated, then tore it open. Her eyes widened. It was an admission letter to LUTH School of Nursing. Her name was printed clearly at the top. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Her dream, the one she had buried for 10 years while struggling to feed her boys, was alive again. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She turned to Obina, her lips shaking. "I don't know what to say." "You don't need to," Obina replied softly. "You've given everything for Samto and Dubum. Now it's time you live for yourself too." Before she could answer, a sudden loud crash echoed from downstairs. The sound of breaking glass tore through the mansion. Obina jumped to his feet. Guards rushed into the sitting room. Curtains fluttered wildly beside a broken window. Shards of glass glittered on the marble floor like ice. Obina bent down and picked up something small. His hand froze. It was a gold ring, engraved with initials he recognized immediately. His face went pale. His throat tightened. Emeka, his brother, the one who had vanished 10 years ago in disgrace. Obina clenched the ring in his fist, fear and anger mixing in his eyes. "He's back," he muttered. Kayamika stood at the stairs, holding the twins close, her face full of dread. 3 days later, Kayamika returned home from school, tired but hopeful. She pushed open the mansion gates and frowned. The guard post was empty. The house was unusually quiet. No footsteps, no laughter, no voices. Her heart began to race. "Obina," she called out. Silence answered. She hurried inside. The lights flickered strangely, some bulbs dim, others out completely. The air felt heavy. Panic rising, she dropped her bag and ran upstairs. Straight to the twins' room. The door was wide open. The bed was empty. The window was pushed out, curtains blowing wildly in the evening wind. "Samto! Dubum!" she screamed. Her eyes darted around desperately. Then she saw it on the bed. A single sheet of paper. With trembling hands, she picked it up. The words were short, sharp, and cruel. "If you want your children alive, tell Obina to give me what's mine. He knows exactly what I mean." Emeka, her knees buckled. A scream ripped from her chest, loud enough to shake the walls. Obina rushed in moments later, breathless. He found her on the floor, clutching the note, tears pouring down her face. He snatched the paper, read it, and his whole body stiffened. His jaw locked. His brother's shadow was no longer a memory. It was here, alive and ruthless. "They've taken my boys," Kayamika sobbed. "Obina, they've taken my babies." Obina's hands shook as he pulled her up. His voice was firm, but his eyes burned with fear. "I swear, Kayamika, I will bring them back." The mansion was heavy with silence. Kayamika sat curled on the sofa, clutching Samto and Dubum's pillows, her eyes red from crying. Obina stood by the window, fist tight, his mind racing. Then the phone rang. An unknown number. Kayamika snatched it up, her voice trembling. "Hello? My children, where are they?" A deep, cold laugh came from the other end. Emeka's voice. "They're safe for now. But if Obina doesn't hand over our father's company shares, you'll never see them again. You have 48 hours. After that, I'll start sending pieces. The line went dead. Kayamika collapsed, her sobs echoing through the mansion. Obina, please. He'll kill them. He'll kill my babies. Obina knelt beside her, his eyes blazing. No, he won't. I swear I will end this. He picked up his phone and dialed. Colonel Musa Danjuma. I need you. Tonight. Before dawn, Obina arrived at the old family estate in Abe, a lonely compound surrounded by bush. Hidden in the trees, Colonel Musa's DSS team prepared their positions, snipers, radios, drones. Obina stepped into the courtyard, unarmed, his heart pounding. From the shadows, Emeka appeared. Older, thinner, but with eyes full of hatred. Two masked men dragged Samto and Dubum forward, their little hands tied. So, Emeka sneered, the golden brother finally bows. Obina raised his hands. I'm here. Take the documents. Just let my boys go. Emeka laughed bitterly. This isn't about papers. I want to see you beg. One of the masked men pressed a knife to Samto's throat. Obina's chest tightened. Please. I'm on my knees already. Don't hurt them. He fell to the ground, tears in his eyes. Suddenly, gunfire cracked the air. DSS agents stormed the compound. Chaos erupted. One attacker ran. Another froze. Emeka stumbled as a bullet tore through his leg. Obina leapt forward, tackling the man holding the knife. Don't touch my son, he shouted, wrestling him to the ground. Moments later, it was over. Emeka was in cuffs, bleeding. The twins ran straight into their father's arms, sobbing. Obina held them so tightly his own body shook. It's over, he whispered. You're safe now. I swear I'll never let anything happen to you again. The next morning, Lagos woke to headlines, kidnapped foiled, billionaire's brother arrested. The city buzzed, but inside the mansion, Obina focused only on his sons. Weeks later, the Unilag auditorium roared with applause as Kayamika walked across the stage to collect her nursing certificate. Her eyes shone with pride, her dream finally alive again. In the front row, Obina, Samto, and Dubum clapped the loudest. After the ceremony, Obina pulled her aside under a quiet tree. He opened a small box. Inside was a ring. I don't deserve forgiveness, he said softly, but give me a chance to build the life we were meant to have with you with them. Kayamika's eyes filled with tears. Before she could answer, Obina's phone rang. He answered cautiously. A strange voice whispered, low and mocking. You think Emeka was the only one? Lagos is full of vultures. Others are waiting for their share. Click. The line went dead. Obina lowered the phone slowly, his face pale. Kayamika grabbed his arm. What is it? He looked into her worried eyes. The fight isn't over. Obina tightened security around his family. He moved his assets into trusts, making Samto and Dubum the heirs. He stepped back from public appearances, leaving the company in the hands of trusted board members. Kayamika flourished in her new life. She became a respected midwife at a private hospital, her white uniform a symbol of everything she had overcome. Years passed. At Murtala Mohammed International Airport, cameras flashed as two young men in crisp pilot uniforms stepped off a jet. Samto and Dubum, now 21, celebrated as Nigeria's youngest pilots. Reporters shouted questions, photographers crowded, but all Obina saw were his sons, strong, proud, alive. He stood with Kayamika at his side. She wore her hospital scrubs, a smile glowing on her face. Obina whispered, his voice breaking with emotion. I thought I ruined your life, but you and the boys, you saved mine. Kayamika squeezed his hand. Sometimes, God uses broken things to build the strongest homes. They walked forward together, into the sunshine of Lagos. No storms, no shadows, only second chances.